Welcome. Time to check the game notes. You see the arm dog over there. He's on the road. We're going to find out exactly where he is in a minute. But first, this episode is brought to you by Body Armor Flash IV. Body Armor Flash IV is packed with electrolytes and provides faster and longer lasting hydration with no artificial flavors, sweeteners, or dyes. With great tasting flavors like strawberry, kiwi, and tropical punch, Body Armor Flash IV gives your body the rehydration it needs to recover. Arm Dog's traveling the world right now, following the NHL. He's on the IVs, the Flash IVs all the time, because when you're up in the air, guys, you get dehydrated. I didn't know if everyone knew that. So when you come back down, get on the Body Armor Flash IV. This week only, head over to 7-Eleven and use the 7-Eleven app for $1 rewards and get your Body Armor Flash IV for $1. Sorry, I was trying to read that so fast, Army, but we have Coach Benn Barr of U Maine on the tarmac in Maine.
Get him going.
The NCAA tournament. So we got to get him going. There he is.
There he is.
What's up, boys?
Benny, what a performance. What a show, and fitting us in. Obviously, massive friend of the show, I guess we could say. You're with us from the start, and we're loving what we're seeing, buddy.
Well, I didn't know that the first time we did this in that hotel room, how big you guys are going to be getting. So, now it's like everyone up here in Maine was always checking the game notes every week, thinking, waiting for the episodes. So it's good to be back.
Betty, before we get to the tournament talk, you got to tell us the story about the youth hockey party you went to the other night, and the guy showed up with the makeshift game notes gear.
Yeah. No, it was my kid's birthday party a couple of weeks ago. And it was after, we had played our last regular season weekend there at UMass, and we got back at like 5 a.m. and I just went right to my kid. We had the party at the pool at U Maine, and I showed up and somebody had a game note. One of the parents had a game notes shirt on or something. So I asked Merle, like, where do you get some of this stuff? And he said it doesn't even exist. So he must have made it. It must have been homemade.
Yeah, Benny wanted a game notes care package. I'm like, we don't got anything yet. But
he's like, you were so excited. You texted us about the game notes shirt. And we were like, no, it doesn't exist. And you were like, oh my God, this guy might have made his own gear.
Well, it exists. It exists up here in Orono, Maine. So you guys are legends up here.
Real quick,
Awesome.
guys, speaking of making your own gear, Benny, you guys went viral this week for your tracksuits. What's going on with the tracksuits? You bringing those things back from the 90s?
So our equipment manager before the season was like, hey, New Balance wants to do like a retro thing. And he thought the guys would he asked the guys and they're like, okay, whatever. They're pretty low maintenance. And then we got them and they were kind of like shiny material, I think. And they were, so the boys were like, I don't think we can wear these every week. But it was kind of a tribute to the 93 team with Monty and Korea and those guys. So they finally broke them out at the Garden there last weekend. That was the first time they'd worn them.
Benny, incredible. We need some. We need some for the game notes, boys. I know we were chatting about them too at the picture that was going around with a guy at the podium doing his post-game presser. We were like, oh, these are classic throwbacks, bud.
You guys would look good in those.
I just sent it over to Pasha. We'll see if we can pop it up. But that was Albin Boya, the guy from Sunsville. There it is.
There it is.
Legendary. We need those. I'm not going to make it to Allentown like I did last year and mush you guys over in Springfield. So that's going for you. But before we get to your game, I want to talk about UConn, Quinnipiac, Battle of Connecticut. What do you know about both those teams? You play UConn all the time.
Yeah, both really good teams. I mean, UConn's been, one of the best teams in the nation the second half, as is Penn State, who we play, obviously. So both really structured, good players. At this time of the year, every game is basically a coin flip, and I mean, every team is so good, and college hockey is so good right now. So it's, those teams know each other pretty well, though, because they're two Connecticut teams. So I'm sure they've played already too. So that'll be a great game.
Yeah, we're calling this Allentown the game notes bracket because we had Rand Pecknall on, and then a couple of weeks ago we had Guy Godowski from Penn State, and then of course we have you on every year going back to when we were only doing one episode a month, and it's the battle of the game notes tomorrow, Friday night, 8:30, Maine versus Penn State. What's the early scouting report on Penn State?
I mean, really good offensive team. kind of like very similar to UConn. They've been playing, they kind of, the second half have been basically on fire. And so, we'll have to be, really good to match what they bring. They're really, really like high octane offensive team. So for us, it'll, being really responsible, taking care of the puck will be really important, not to give them too many rush chances, because they can really skate. So they got some really high end players, so they're a really good team, and we'll be playing a road game, so it'll be a great it should be a tough environment for us, and it should be a lot of fun.
Benny, Penn State's not a team that you guys obviously see often. With you guys being Hockey East and being Big Ten, is this one of those times where you open up the Rolodex, you give Jared DeMichael a call? Hey, what are we going into tonight? Like, what is your scouting process? How are you scouting these teams? Are you reaching out to coaches in the Big Ten that have played these guys a lot? Kind of walk us through that process.
Yeah, I mean, I talk to Jared DeMichael every week too. He always calls me when he needs something. So, so we talk a lot. So it's not like it would just be about that. But yeah, I mean, video, you can watch every game of, technology these days. You can literally go back and watch every one of their games. You can watch it. You don't even have to break it down. It's broken down for you now. And in the, some of these software programs so there's really no secrets, and you can sit there and watch hours and hours and hours of it. And sometimes it becomes counterproductive, I think. In these games, you have to play your game, and whoever's better at doing what they do is going to win in these one and done scenarios. So, we learned our lesson last year in the last two games that we lost, and, hopefully we can carry that experience with us.
How quickly have you obviously parked excuse me, how quickly have you parked, winning your championship, and how awesome was that experience as well, heading into this tournament now, going back to back with your team like that, the OT win, like your fans, like the videos from that and the games were unbelievable. And the way your team showed up in back-to-back nights with a quick turnaround comparatively to who you were playing in that final game. Like, I mean, what an experience for everyone, but like, parking that now and having to, re-go again, like, hey, it's time to recheck ourselves. We're in it again.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the biggest challenge. I didn't, we went to the Garden last year and we lost the first game to BU, and, it was fun. I mean, there's a ton of Maine people there. You just, I don't think any of us were prepared for, what that was going to be like, just like having, playing the second game, going to double overtime, and then winning, and then like 12 hours later, turning around basically and going back to the rink, and to see what, the whole place was full of Maine people. It was kind of an emotional thing for all of us, I think, and for the state, just because it's been a long time, and, we're so fortunate to have the greatest fans out there. So, but now we have to move on. We have to compartmentalize it and move on. And that'll be the biggest challenge, I think, for us. I think we'll be okay, just because we have really good leadership. We have some older guys that have been through it now a few times, that, we have to forget about it and go bring our best, tomorrow night, or else it's all over. And I don't think any of us want it to be over, and we got such a special group right now. So, yeah.
Benny, talk about what the Black Bears mean to the state of Maine. I mean, I think everyone's seen it across the hockey world the past few weeks, and I don't think everyone really knew how crazy Maine fans were. I think seeing the band coming into the greatest bar the other night before the game, that was awesome to see. But I think a lot of people are saying it's just different. It's different up at Maine, and I'd love for you to go into depth. Why is it so different at Maine?
I don't know. It's hard to explain. I mean, a big part of it is that we don't have really pro sports up here, at the highest level, at least. We don't have other Division I athletic programs. We don't, so it's really it. And then what happened, when we were all growing up in the 90s and 2000s, like the team was like the best team every year. Some legends coming through, a legendary coach and Sean Walsh, and, some of the players, like dozens and dozens of NHLers. And so I think, when that happened, and people have been wanting it again for so long, and it's been a while. But it's incredible. We just drove by, we're at the airport. We're leaving right now, actually. We just drove by, we left our rink and went by an elementary school, and the whole school was out, in front, standing outside as we were
Unreal.
going by. Yeah,
It's crazy.
it's incredible. So we're so fortunate to be able to be part of it. And yeah, I don't. It's hard to explain. It's but it's really special.
Yeah, Benny, you took Maine, you took them off the mat. They were down and out. And when we talked to you in Tampa, you said it was going to take you 2 or 3 years. You've done it, but I want to shout out one guy that was there with you the whole time, your captain, Lyndon Breen. I happened to see that game at RPI this year. He went down. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he broke his leg or whatever, but it sounded like his season was going to be over. Somehow he's back in there. And in college hockey, you're nothing without your captains. And just give him a little praise before you jump on the bird.
Yeah, him and it was pretty incredible. I thought he was done after that game. That was a surgery, didn't skate for almost 3 months, and now he's back and he scored the first goal the other night. It's just it's pretty incredible. And him and David Brazil, are our 2 captains that have been. David's been here. He was our first recruit here. I got here, so those 2 guys have been unbelievable, and that's why we got to keep this thing going, because you don't come across those as quality individuals like that all the time. So we're really lucky.
Well, you're going into the Lions Den, buddy. You're going into Pennsylvania to play Penn State. I mean, what do you expect in there? I know you guys travel well. I know they show out, your fans, but that's going to be something else to get ready for.
Yeah, it'll be tough. They're really good, and it'll be a home game for them, I'm sure. And this time of year, you go out and you don't worry about anything. You put your best foot forward, and it's one game, and so every one of our guys and every one of us as coaches, that we're going to need everybody to be our best. And if we get that, we'll give ourselves a chance. It'll be it should be a great environment, a great game.
You got to keep Fortier on the straight and narrow, your assistant coach there. You got to keep him dialed in.
He's dialed. He's dialed in hockey wise, so he's a beauty.
Yeah.
Benny, last one from me here. Taylor McCarr. I mean, I feel like he has just come in and just taken over this season. It's been awesome to see. What was the process like in getting him to transfer over to Maine from UMass?
Yeah, he's been unbelievable for us. There wasn't really a process. They're just like such a, when he decided that he wanted to go somewhere else for his last year, I think, it's really just, hey, I'm going to go with people I know. And that's just the way they are as a family. And so there really wasn't a process. And it was just one phone call after, he decided to leave. Hey, I'm going to go to Maine, and that's that. I mean, that they're
So
just
there wasn't any convincing. It wasn't like, hey, come to Alphon. We got the best fans. It was kind of just like, hey, me, I know you. Let's do this.
Yeah, that's really the way they are. I mean, that's what Kale's like, and that's what the family's like. They're just they're really just one of a kind, as far as kind of character, the people that they are. They want to go around people that they know and they trust, hopefully. So, obviously we're fortunate that we've had him for a year.
All right, Benny, we're going to let you get on the plane, but I'm going to give you one piece of advice before you get on that plane. Before that game Friday, go buy 22 body armor flash IVs and give them to all the players before the game, and you'll be buzzing around.
Fair enough. We'll do.
Let's
do.
go, Benny.
Don't miss the plane.
Let's go, Benny.
All right, boys. Thanks for having me.
What a guy.
There he is. Coach Ben Barr, U Maine. He doesn't know how to turn his phone off. There he goes. He's out. Good little inside there. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's getting into. He's been here before. He lost in a final. He won a final. So he knows what to do.
You were there, Merles. I love that you brought that up about what he said to us in Tampa at the Frozen Four. Like just sitting, hanging around in a hotel room, talking to him about that and the opportunity he had in front of him and his goals and his plans for the program and the history and
the timing.
The timing
was spot on.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
I almost thought
him.
He was like bullshit. Like, is he really going to do this again? Like they had 7 wins last year. Like, come on, like Barr.
I mean, it's amazing. Like I've kind of have shivers for him because obviously he like getting to know him through you, Merles, and stuff. Like just a class guy, driven, smart, cares a lot. Like he probably couldn't be in a better place. And it like he says it's a hockey place. You want to be a hockey player, you come to Maine. And like we're gonna figure it out. I'm gonna do it. I'm on a mission to get this thing right. And I kind of have shivers just because of like what his team looks like, how composed he is and ready to
They better be
roll.
paying him, boys, because you got to imagine there are some big college jobs opening right now. There's going to be some big NHL jobs at the end of the year. You got to imagine teams are going to come calling for Benny Barr. Like,
He's got to
you
be
have
getting
to
paid.
imagine.
Pretty impressive guy, though. Just super impressive guy. And
like
the way the
when
game
when he was burning nachos and I told him how he screwed up the free pizza the one night in college. I gave him, I was like, I'll pay the $20, go pick up the 2 $5 pizzas. He drops the $20 bill and like within 3 minutes, it was a 3-minute walk and he somehow loses a $20 bill on the ground. So he's come a long way since then.
Yeah, he's got the details covered. You watch that team play, like what's the one thing they have going against them for Maine is in watching them. They don't, like everyone says this too, like they don't have like that game breaker guy, right? Like they don't have that. But like as a team, like he's not dropping the $20 bill. He ain't burning the pizza anymore. It's on a tee. It's dialed. He's systems. They're very sharp as a team.
It reminds me a lot of that Quinnipiac team from like 2 years ago, does it not? Like, because they had Colin Graff, obviously, but like he would like they didn't have someone where you're like, oh, this kid's a first rounder. This kid's one of the best players in college hockey. Just a sound team from start to finish. I don't know. I see a lot of comparisons.
Hey, Singsy.
The goalie's great. The goalie is probably their best player, Albin Boya. He's going to be getting hunted by NHL teams.
Yeah.
He's something.
Is he undrafted?
Special.
Is he undrafted?
Yeah. No, he's
He's free. Hey, Singsy in the chat said, who's going to get the North Dakota job? Speaking of like all these jobs opening up, anyone in mind there?
That's a big job.
That's a big job.
Huge job. That's like coaching, like almost like the Montreal Canadiens.
Were you shocked by that, G? You went there and hung out with him and you were praising him. And I know lots of people that know him that like him.
He's an awesome guy. And he in the respect, like I would say, and I know Fish would back me up on this. Like, I don't think we've been to a school where the coach commanded as much respect from the players as Brad Berry did. Just him walking through the building. It's almost like was like Bill Belichick in a sense.
Fish
where like
liked them. Fish was commenting like, this guy's amazing. Oh my God. I remember
he's
Fish
incredible.
Stories.
But I would say I wasn't too surprised when you haven't made the tournament 2 out of 3 years at North Dakota. Like that's the
expectation.
Fired. Yeah. It's exactly. It's like everywhere the amount of money that the Engelstad family floods into that program, they want wins. They want national championships. So it didn't shock me too much. Colby, you asked names. I brought it up with Benny there, and I'm sure we can ask Jonny about this guy too. But Jared DeMichael. I mean, he is the best assistant coach in college hockey. He was there at UMass with Benny and Greg Carvel, helped them build the national championship team. Now he's over at Michigan State, and he's helped recruit one of the best rosters in the country. I don't see how you can't look at Jared DeMichael. The one thing with North Dakota is they've never really done a nationwide coaching search. It's usually always hire from within. So I don't know. I really don't know what's going to happen. Hackstall would be great.
Hackstall back in the chat. 2 gray hands
back.
Wow,
that would kind of make sense.
Could make sense there, or they're gonna cherry pick one of these coaches that's in this tournament right now and double his salary and
it's so hard, Merle,
down to get him.
The recruiting process.
They put a date on there. They had a hard date. I think it was you had to submit your application by, I think it's tomorrow. So that's a lot of teams that are in the tournament. People are saying the coaches aren't going to be submitting their applications, going through the interview process because they're busy right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that must be because the portal. I think the portal opens up the 30th, maybe. I know there's some players already in there because if your coach leaves or your program goes from Division 1 to Division 2, like AIC, then you can go in there early. So you'll see some names already popping up.
Merle's to
Nodak. No, thank you.
You're not throwing your hat in there?
Not throw the hat in that one too?
I mean, you get the resume cooking around, you get people talking, the next thing you know,
because of you.
The next thing you know, if you get it in the mill, right, it gets working around. It's on the tip of everyone's tongue. You got Friedman saying Merles. You got all this stuff. Next thing you know, you're on the bench in Philly. Am I wrong?
We're going to get to that news. We're going to get to that news in a little bit, but we're going to stay on the NCAA. We're older guys. We had to bring in a young hockey mind, a young player, and it was a perfect segue because Benny Barr recruited this guy to UMass. Not so long ago, so he's dialed in. Welcome, Jonny Laz, to Game Notes.
Thanks, boys. Good to be here. I'm actually out in I'm in San Diego right now, so an early wake up for college hockey today. We got BU on at 11 a.m. BU Ohio State today here. So I got college hockey all day today, which is pretty sweet.
That's pretty awesome when you're traveling. You got that going, buddy. What are you making of this tournament here? We just had Benny Barr on. I mean, pretty impressive showing, right? And, you know, we kind of compiled our list, right, boys, of who we think's going to get through here. I don't know how far off we are, but what tournament or what bracket are you looking at when it comes to this tournament right now? And how you feeling about some of these teams?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, Army. I actually think Benny's region is probably the most interesting one of all. Like Maine, Penn State, UConn, Quinnipiac. To me, that's the one where any of those 4 teams can come out, and I don't think it'd be a surprise. And I know for you guys, that Maine versus Penn State game is probably a conflict of interest, right? Not only with the coaches, but with Cruiser too, right? Who's he?
Yes.
Right? That's
Whoever
that,
wins
Johnny.
gets Cruz.
Yeah, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, that's. I mean, listen, I think you know, with that matchup too, and a team that should not be slept on is UConn. You know, also you'll think of this too. I feel like, you know, Matthew Wood was there last year. He left and kind of got that big NIL money from Minnesota. Maybe that put a chip on their shoulder. But I think this kid, Joey Muldowney, a 6th-round pick to San Jose, needs some more attention. I mean, he had 5 goals last year as a freshman, 27 this year. Like, that's a huge jump.
That's huge.
You know, from freshman to sophomore year for a kid who's a 6th-round pick, right? Like, you know, listen, I know anyone who gets drafted in the NHL is an unbelievable player, but I feel like sometimes those kids don't always pan out, right? And for Joey Muldowney to really take that next step from freshman to sophomore year is insane. And he's carried that UConn team.
It's like Wyatt Johnston numbers when he was coming through. It's like doing that, like that big of a pop, that big of an improvement.
Yeah, every single tweet I see from UConn hockey too is don't let Joey Muldowney get hot, and this kid gets hot every single game. It seems like. I mean, he's been money, and you know, the Penn State goalie too, Arseny Sergeyev, he was UConn's goalie last year. So if those 2 teams were to meet in that regional final, like, there's a lot to talk about there as far as storylines go. But you know, obviously Benny's team is the team to beat. This kid Brandon Holt too on the back end for Maine. I think he wears number 4. He's a left-handed defenseman. His foot speed is unbelievable. I called both games when Maine was at UMass March 7th and 8th to end the season, and he was a kid that really stood out to me. He's undrafted. I think he's a junior as well. So I think a lot of eyeballs will be on Brandon Holt too for Maine. Yeah. He's a nasty little lefty defenseman.
Last, I kind of wanted to jump over to UMass. I mean, you've done a ton of color for their games for Hockey East this year, but one guy you've kind of been pretty vocal about online, and I saw your interview with head coach Greg Carvel, Cole O'Hara. A lot of people saying snubbed from the top 10 Hobey Baker list. I don't think he would make the top 3, but talk about Cole O'Hara and give us your Cole O'Hara top 10 Hobey Baker pitch right now.
I mean, listen, just knowing that program inside and out, Cole O'Hara is like everything that represents what UMass hockey is. And I just talked about Joey Muldowney making a huge jump. Cole O'Hara, his freshman and sophomore year, had 17 points freshman year, 18 points his sophomore year, has 51 right now. Like that's insane.
It's nuts.
And these things too, like Coach Carvel preaches it. Like Cole O'Hara treats himself like a pro away from the rink. Like make sure everything he puts in his body is something that's going to make him produce on the ice. The way he goes about his school, like I think he's a 4.0 student. You know, he represents what a college athlete should be, what a student athlete should be. And I think that goes a little bit further into the Hobey Baker talk too, right? It's what are these kids doing away from the rink that gives them that success on the ice? And he kills penalties. He touches every single part of the game, 6-on-5, 5-on-6, PK, power play. I mean, he scored a goal against Maine last weekend, a shorthanded goal, or 2 weeks ago. He blocked a shot, then went on a one-on-one, used his body to protect the puck, tucked the puck around Boya. I mean, it was the sickest individual effort I had ever seen. And if you watch that clip by itself, you're like, holy shit, this kid should win the Hobey Baker just on this one play. You know, so UMass.
He's a hockey player. He's a hockey player.
Hockey player. UMass had a crazy second half run. He carried them the entire way. A 14-game point streak in Hockey East, which to me is the toughest college hockey conference there is. Obviously, it's a little bit biased, but look how many teams are in the tournament out of Hockey East. You're telling me this kid who's 4th in the country in points is going to be a top 10 Hobey Baker finalist? Like, that's ridiculous.
All right, so UMass plays Minnesota tonight. That's 8:30 Eastern. UMass won it in 2021. Mini, we saw them lose 2023, but they did just have the Chicklets U released, so that's going to give them a little bump. Johnny, who do you got winning that game? UMass, Minnesota.
Pretty biased here, but I got UMass. I'm already wearing the colors today too. But to me, the difference in this one's Michael Hrabal. And, he's unbelievable. If you've watched the World Juniors, you saw him beat Canada 2 years in a row in the quarterfinal for Czechia. I mean, this kid is built for the big games. He does not.
Isn't he like 6'7" too? He's huge.
Massive. Yeah, he's massive. 6'7", a Utah Hockey Club prospect. He will definitely be an NHL goalie. He's so composed for a young kid too. I think he is only 19. He went in as a true freshman last year and went through those growing pains a little bit last year, but has come back this year and he's become a much more, mature version of himself. He's also just a really sweet kid too. I've gotten to spend a lot of time with him. Such an easy kid to root for. And I think he's just going to be the difference maker. And I think UMass will go head to head with Minnesota compete wise, but when it comes down to the goaltending, I will always trust Michael Harabel.
Gee, Merles, do you guys agree with him?
I'm on Minnesota. I got Minnesota taking him down.
I got many.
I know.
Minnesota.
We'll shoot it around. And whoever does win that game will take on the winner of Western Michigan and Minnesota State. To be honest, these are two teams I know nothing about. This Western Michigan team just kept winning all season long. Arm Dog, I feel like that's your team, Western boys. I mean, you probably named the team. It feels like.
Well, just when I look at it, and you're talking about a 6'7" guy, like I'm like, you look down their roster, and they are just monsters. Like we're dealing with, you put Western in front of it, I love it even more. But then you put the size of these guys; they have 4 guys under 6 feet, and they're on their roster of player. Like these guys are just a big tank of a team. So I got to get behind that. I got to get behind that. I'm looking forward to that, seeing if they can roll. I mean, we've seen in the last few years, from my experience, boys, being with you at Frozen Fours, like watching these teams as G is doing his morning routine, the banana peel on the face. Love it. Now it's the ice bucket face in. But I watch these teams, and it's never really like we've seen the skill teams and the big names. And then we see these teams like Maine or like the Quinnipiacs or like this Western Michigan, like
Denver beat you down last year too.
Denver just swarmed hard. They play hockey, like they're up and down. They dot the I's, they cross the T's system wise with the way they play, and maybe a little bit more experience too, just in the league. So it's been interesting for me as a newer guy in the last number of years to getting a look at college hockey and what kind of works when it matters and, what's nice to have. But that's like a trend that I noticed, like, rock solid team play that just relentless on you. And that seems to be the ticket, for me in seeing it over the last few years here. And maybe it's just a one-off of a couple years in a row here where that's happened. But I mean, it's like drinking out of a fire hose almost, it seems, with the way some of these teams play a team game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. What's interesting too about these two teams, and again, these aren't teams that I typically watch a lot throughout the year, but I was with one of my buddies, Nicky Rivera, who was the captain of Minnesota State not too long ago when they were in the NCAA tournament back in 2019 or 2020, like those years. And he said
sick teams back then.
Yeah, they were nasty. And he said we got guys who stay all 4 years that are, 24, 25-year-old men. And that's why we're so good. Like we're older, we're stronger, we're experienced. And that's why you see Minnesota State in the tournament every year. And then Western Michigan, pretty similar, but this year's team, Alex Bump, 5th round pick to Philadelphia. Colby Cohen's been super high on him. Colby actually said as soon as their season ends, he thinks Bump is going to join Philly and play in the NHL. Like he's
that guy got drafted out of. Didn't he get drafted out of Minnesota high school hockey too? I think they really like him. They love him.
Maybe the USHL, but he did play Minnesota high school hockey.
Yeah, he's a player.
Yeah, I got to say, I'm excited for that game tonight because, like I said, I know nothing about them. But I want to pop over now to Toledo. It's the early game. Like you said, 11 a.m., BU, Ohio State. I've seen BU play a couple times. We know all about them. Ohio State, I don't really know much about, but they did beat Michigan State in the overtime. And, I got BU winning just because I want to make Whit happy.
I think it starts and ends with BU's goalie. I don't know about you guys, but this kid is you're either getting the best goalie you've ever seen or something a lot different. Like this kid has come in and completely changed their season. What have you seen from him, Jonny?
Yeah, I haven't watched any Ohio State. Full transparency, I couldn't even name one player on their team, honestly, which I feel horrible about. But,
Gunnar Wolf Fontaine, best name in college hockey.
Okay. All right.
Who
fair
said
enough.
something? They're like, that guy's still playing college hockey.
Yeah,
Like he's
that was
good
me.
everywhere.
I was like,
Yeah.
I think that guy was committed to RPI 10 years ago. And then he went and
Only
played
scores
juniors for
overtime
4 years
goals.
instead.
He's the Bucci Gross overtime challenge for sure. If it goes to OT today, that kid scores the biggest goals
100%.
ever. But with Big Mike, they call him, I think, over there at BU, Yegorov. I made the joke, I think when they played the first Beanpot game or something, I like tweeted out that walrus picture from the commercial. Like that's what he looked like in there. Like there's just nowhere to shoot. Like it's a walrus. Like, you guys know that Ico. That's what he looks like in there. But he's also, he's got some swagger to him too. Like I've seen players like stop in the crease and he'll like mess with them with his stick. Like, this kid came into college like 3 months ago and has already taken the country by storm. But to me, and this should be no shock, but Cole Hudson's the guy to watch, right? Like, he was unbelievable in the World Junior. I called a game, UMass versus BU at UMass. Cole Hudson had the tying goal in the third and the go-ahead goal like 2 minutes later. Like this kid just thrives in the big moments. And then, another guy too, Islanders draft pick, Cole Eiserman, like he always just finds the back of the net. He's exciting to watch too. He's going to sell his ass off. That's honestly the best part of this tournament for me too, is every kid that scores a goal is jumping into the glass doing a crazy selling. Like it's the best thing to watch. Like they're so excited. And G, you look like you got something to say.
Well, yeah, I was going to ask you, Jonny, like, this is something I've been adamant about for years, and you're talking about the sellies, and I think the best part of college hockey is the environments, the fans, the traditions. I just still don't understand why the NCAA hasn't decided to move from neutral site regional games to letting the 1 seeds host the games. I mean, let's go through it. Mun Arena, that would be fucking insane. Yeah. Alphond, that would be sick. Western Michigan, that would be so much fun. And then who am I missing here? BC. Then you got BC, Conti Forum. Like that would be so much fun. I just don't understand why they're not doing this. You talk to a lot of coaches. You obviously have a lot of connections in the NCAA. Like, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think this is something that'll ever change?
Well, I mean, G, you just heard Benny say it, right? Like Maine is the number 1 seed in their bracket, and they're playing a road game tonight in Allentown against Penn State. Like they're not rewarded at all, to be the top seed in their bracket, right? Like I think it happened last year too. Denver was the top seed and they're going out to Springfield to play UMass, and UMass is 45 minutes down the road from Springfield. So like, what are we doing here? What does the number 1 seed even matter? We're going to send teams halfway across the country and play in front of the road team's fans anyway. And you're not saying like make the whole tournament, at home rinks or on home campuses. You're just saying the regional, right? Like let them host
this one weekend. That one weekend.
Yeah. I agree, but also I think like, maybe if they put them in cities that like people necessarily like wanted to travel to, if that makes sense. I'm not trying to like, shit on Toledo or like Allentown and these places, but like they're not attractive places to go.
Yeah. Hey, you know what they need to do? They need to set it up, and I think we've talked like set it up like NHL almost, like where you have like, for me as a guy, I'm sure there's people in the chat that feel the same way, or fans that are like, how do you follow? It's very confusing, like how they play in their conferences and like how things are ranked and who they play against and what their schedule is. And then we get the pairwise, and then it's like, well, who's in and who's out.
We need a 1 sheet. We need an NCAA 1 sheet for all the Canadians out there, where it just goes through who's in what conference, how you win your conference, what pairwise even means.
Well, like make it like an NHL, like just streamline the college hockey league way better. Someone's going to get their feelings hurt. They might not be in the league because they might not be a good enough program. Maybe a way to do like a Division II type of setup. There's got to be like a way to make it like more streamliney a little bit. But yeah, we need a 1-pager. We need a game notes college hockey 1-pager, especially now. I mean, with the way things are opened up like crazy now and the way things are rolling, people need to know this stuff, how it all works, because it's crazy for me.
Well, Army, it's not just college hockey; it's college sports in general. I mean,
yes.
I think who was it 2 years ago? Like, was FSU the undefeated football team that like didn't get into the playoffs?
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Was it FSU or like UCF?
Yeah, FSU.
FSU. Yeah, like you can go like there could be an Atlantic hockey team that goes undefeated that like loses in their conference tournament in the quarterfinal that probably wouldn't get into the NCAA tournament just because the strength of conferences is taken like into huge effect when it comes to pairwise. And listen, I know I played in Hockey East and I played in Atlantic hockey. Like
humble
there
brag.
definitely is a night. Well, I got demoted kind of, if you think about it.
It's
So
like my hockey rankings, though, for youth hockey. That's what it is. It's my hockey rankings,
Yeah.
Gong Show.
But again, like every game, any night, like an Atlantic team, like we beat ranked teams when I played in the Atlantic. But like if you do that for the course of the year, we're probably going to be in last place in Hockey East. You know what I mean? Like a one-off game, you can win. Like we've seen AIC
Like Vegas.
St. Cloud.
Vegas.
Yeah. You know, like UNLV beats Denver, even though that one is, you know, what we'll put that past us, whatever. What?
Jonny hates club hockey, boys. Like
I don't know.
Yeah.
I do not hate club hockey, but like club hockey to me, like those guys get to play for the love of the game and enjoy it. I'm not saying D1 guys don't, but like it's so hard mentally and so taxing on you to play Division One. Like, dude, my junior year, I was just like fully depressed, beating myself up after every single game. Like if I was playing club hockey, I'd just be out there.
Jonny, you don't know what it's like to be sitting in the locker room and they're passing around multiple blunts before a game. And you're like, do I hit this or am I going to go out there and play like shit? That's the things club hockey players have to deal with.
Yeah. Dude, so I tell this story about D-Mike, honestly, all the time. So Jared DeMichael, who you guys talked about before. But, gee, this is actually hilarious. Jared DeMichael, who you guys talked about before, when I was a freshman at UMass, we had our coaches on, like, Snapchat. Like, they made us add them on Snapchat. And I posted a Snapchat story the night before a game, like me at the movie theater, and I was holding a box of Milk Duds in the corner of the picture. I wake up from my pregame nap before we play UMass Lowell. I see Greg Carville is typing. I'm like, what the hell can this be? He's like, you're eating Milk Duds the night before a game, like you're not committed. And then D-Mike started calling me Milk Dud the rest of the year. My birthday was last week, and D-Mike sent me pictures of Milk Duds. It's been 8 years since this happened, and they just call me Milk Dud. Like, it's just like. I don't think people understand, like, unless you play Division One, how hard it actually is and like what you have to be mentally to just like survive it. Like, it's not just this, like, you know, everyone's having a great time. Everyone's having a blast. We love playing hockey. We're so fortunate to play D1. Like, you have to show up to the rink every day, like ready to work and battle your ass off. Like by the end of my, like, or the start of my D1 career, I wasn't like going to practice, like trying to stand out. I was going to practice trying to survive. Like it was so hard. And obviously I played for, you know, a really intense program, but like, man, I don't think people understand like the physical and mental toll that playing Division One hockey like can take on you.
Yeah, it's not for everyone, but you bring up the Michael, and it's a perfect segue because the winner of that BU Ohio State game does play Michigan State, Cornell winner. Cornell, great story. They were completely out of it. They went on and run in the ECAC. It's Coach Mike Schaefer's last year. We talked about him last week, how he's been there for 30 years. It's his last season. They were dead to rights against Quinnipiac in the semifinals. They were down, shorthanded in their own end. They break out. They score to tie it up under a minute left or something like that. It was crazy. But then they go on and win the championship. But they draw Michigan State, who not allowed to eat Milk Duds last night. So they will be buzzing tonight. And the fun fact, before I let you guys break it down, last time the Frozen Four was in St. Louis, the Spartans raised the trophy.
Wow.
Well, Murrows, what I'm thinking is actually when you said it earlier to Benny Barr, like a college team is everything. Like a captain is everything to its college team, and that did get me thinking a little bit that like Michigan State lost their captain Red Savage, tough. Couple weeks after the Chicklets U video, some people calling it a Chicklets U mush. I won't get into it, but yeah, like kind of talk about that a little bit and like how much like a guy like Red Savage, second line center. I mean, such a good guy in that locker room. Like that's a huge loss for them, losing your captain.
Yeah. I mean, for me, that's not something I ever went through in college, but you know, I imagine what that can do to their locker room. But again, like, you know, Jeff Marek says it all the time, and I know you guys talk to him a lot, but hockey players love something to rally around, right? Like no matter what that is. And I think this is something that maybe could galvanize Michigan State, right? Like we're doing it for Red. You know, gee, that video you put up honestly was amazing too. I personally thought the Mariucci one was, you know, my favorite because Minnesota to me is still like I know North Dakota gets all the praise as like the best, you know, program in college hockey or whatnot, or the closest thing to the NHL. But I think there's something about Minnesota that will always be like top tier. But with this
Michigan State, though, you meant like their facilities were
facilities
fucking
are
nuts.
unbelievable. Like it's a school that I personally like. I wanted to go to Penn State, and then Michigan State was actually my second choice. Like I really love that school, and I think the reason why too is because of like the community aspect. Like people, that grew up around Michigan State fucking love Michigan State. Like they root for that over almost anything. And Isaac Howard, another guy who seems to always score the big goals, right? Gee, you know him pretty well, I think. Also, like he's
The
a guy
Iceman.
the Iceman.
But Trey Augustine,
Trey
I feel
Augustine.
like that's that. Every year we go to these tournaments, and it's like, oh, this team's got Brock Faber, and this team's got Will Smith, but it always comes down to the goalie. Like what Matt Davis did in Denver last year.
Oh my God, he was
and that's
insane.
why in the national championship I have Michigan State and I have BC, because Jacob Fowler and Trey Augustine are by far the two best goalies in the country.
Do you have BC losing again or no?
No.
Hold on, we'll get to all those predictions in a minute. We still got another bracket.
Yeah, let Merle's run the show here. Come on.
Speaking of BC, that's the early game Friday. BC versus Bentley. I got to shout out my buddy Mike Zebak. He was on the first ever D1 Bentley team back in 98 or 99 when they finally went D1. I mean, I don't even know what kind of rink they have. So if they ever had a high seed, I don't know if they could host a tournament. But
they have a brand new rink, Merles. It's beautiful.
Okay. So tell me all about Bentley. It's their first ever NCAA tourney.
Yeah. So I think their new rink was actually like made my first year at Mercier. So like 2018, 19 maybe. So it's only like 6 years old, but like that was the place in Atlantic hockey where nobody wanted to go play. Like it's a community rink. Like there's no fans. Like
they played at Watertown. The worst. I mean, that is a tough one. That's where I was playing high school hockey games.
And gee, you know it better than anyone. Like now that kids have Chicklets U and they can watch these videos and see the facilities. Like you want to go play in a rink that's gonna be a cool rink to go to every day. Like
it's hard enough recruiting as it is. I think when you're at these other programs, like it helps you, no question, when you got that chip in your pile, right?
Yeah. And Bentley, I think it's in Needham, I think, right? So it's like 20 minutes outside Boston, maybe.
It's in Waltham.
Waltham. So what is it? Still 20 minutes outside the city?
Yeah, 20 minutes. It's super close.
Yeah. So a great location. Like they finally have that rink where they can, attract some good players, and it's their first trip ever to the tournament. Like
it's also an incredible business school. Like it's one of the best business schools in the country. So it's like for those guys that, you're not going pro in hockey, Bentley's a great school to consider with their new facilities and with how incredible that business program is.
That said though, 8-1 BC.
Yeah, I gotta say, Bentley, we went there in college to see Z-Back. They had this spring weekend. Holy moly, kids, us four kids coming from RPI, we go down there to that show. It was incredible. I don't know if they're allowed to still do that in this day and age, but it was funny when we came back to RPI. Amazing spring week down in Bentley. We're just licking our wounds. We come back to RPI and there's a big banner, Space Week. They had all this stuff going on about space shuttles and astronauts. Like, oh man, we're a bunch of nerds. But yeah, congrats to them. I saw a video the AD sent out, like celebrating in the locker room and stuff. But
hey, can I ask a question quick, just on that same thing? How big is it for a team like that? Or, for example, Maine's like a, legendary program. Yes, but they're on the, it's been a big turnaround. A team like Penn State, right? With, having success. How big are these runs for these schools? Like if they can get to a Frozen Four, how big is that in this environment now, in your opinion, Jonny, to recruiting and like how active everything is now with the portal? Like how much does a good run weigh on kind of the coaches and these schools and the program to be like, oh shit, we need this?
Yeah, well, listen, I think everyone's different too. Like, for me, I knew college was my ceiling pretty much as a hockey player. So like I wanted to go and like be at a fun school that I love being at. Like there are other guys who want to go to the NHL and want to develop into NHL players, that winning is very important. Like I remember when I was being recruited, like my time frame, like that 2012 to 2016 window, UMass Lowell was like one of the best programs in the country. Norm Bazin like turned them around. Hellebuck was their goalie. They had so many guys who were just
sick arena. Songus is awesome.
Songus is awesome. And they were making like Frozen Four after Frozen Four. And, Union, like all these schools, like 10 years ago, it wasn't really what it is now. I do think the bigger schools now, like obviously everyone. It's honestly one of the funniest things one of my teammates has ever said. Joey Duzak, who plays in the KHL now, he was my roommate at Mercier, signed an NHL contract out of Mercier's. He was like, I didn't grow up dreaming of playing in front of 10,000 people at Penn State. I grew up dreaming of playing at AIC and hearing my dad in the stands telling me to move my feet.
Welcome to every hockey player.
It was like the funniest thing he's ever said. He was obviously kidding, but I think kids are also more aware of what college hockey is now. Like, I didn't really know what college hockey was till I was in 7th grade. I went to a BC game when I was playing AA, and I watched Nathan Gerby and like Brian Boyle. I think our parents took us to a game, but I grew up on Long Island. Like, there was no college around that had college hockey. I think now it's become more popular. You're seeing it all over social media. There's obviously more coverage and more players are coming out of college hockey. So it's, become more popular around the world over the past 10, 15 years. Like, we have Cale McCarr, Charlie McAvoy, Quinn Hughes, Adam Fox, like some of these best defensemen, Zach Werenski, in the NHL now that came right out of college. Like, to me, that's what's helped grow it so much. And because those guys went to the big schools for the most part, that's where these kids want to grow up and play. Like, if you heard Quinn Hughes played at Michigan, he's your favorite player. Where do you want to go when you go to college? You want to go to Michigan? I think that's got a lot to do with it. But I forgot what the original question is, but yeah.
I was just saying, like, if you're Michigan, you just open the doors and guys are like, hey, setting their resumes in, let's just say. Yeah. And you're some of these other schools, like these runs, like really go a long way to helping you recruit and get your teams together. And 100%. Maybe even the more so now with the new CHL rules and stuff as well.
And in the history, there's been a lot of these upsets. A lot of these, they used to be called MAC schools. Now it's the Atlantic have pulled the upsets. And not only for the players, Army, now that there's the portal and everything, but the coaches. It gets these coaches on the map when they can pull an upset or can get a team like Bentley into the tournament. So I don't know if anybody's got more on BC. I know. Is that your team again this year, BC? You're going to have the jacket on at the Frozen Four?
Yeah. So it's tough because – see, I established BC as my team, but I don't have as many friends on this BC team. Like, Will Smith was my buddy. That was the main reason I was going ham for them last year. So now I've made some friends on Michigan State. I've made some friends on Minnesota. Penn State, I got a couple buddies. Maine, there's Benny Barr. So it's tough now that I've built these relationships with these different teams. I'm going to stick with BC because that's actually where my head is, not my heart. But yeah, I'm riding BC. And I think everyone's talking about how easy of a bracket that the Eagles have. Providence and Denver, that is not going to be an easy game to win. Like, whoever wins that game, first off, is if you have to go up against Providence, that's not an easy W. Denver, that ain't an easy W either. So yeah, it's going to be tough for BC to get out, but I got BC.
Yeah, that's the later game, Providence versus Denver on Friday. It's probably the two best coaches in college hockey. Well, two of the top 5 for sure, with Nate Lehman and then David Carl. Will he stay? He might be in Philly before this game even drops the puck, or in Chicago. We'll see. But Providence, Denver, they're looking to repeat. They've won 2 out of 3. There was no expectations last year really with them. And then the goalie stole the show. I saw him firsthand in Springfield. He was incredible at the Frozen Four. Remember that one save he made?
Oh my God.
On Leonard. It was
he made
net,
2. Basically. He made 2 that were out of this world that won them the game virtually.
I do feel like Denver's being sneaky quiet.
What did you say, Jay?
I feel like Denver is being sneaky quiet. They still have a pretty loaded roster. Zeev, Bouyem. It wouldn't surprise if you saw Denver in the national championship. Would any of you guys be surprised at all?
Jack Devine leads the country in points.
Yeah. I just loves dishing the puck. At one point this year, when we were keeping our players of the week, he was, I think, 1 goal and 25 assists or something ridiculous like that. But yeah, he's a sick player. I remember watching him last year too. He's something special. Tough bracket there too. I got Denver winning that game though. I do have Denver versus BC, and I got BC coming out of there.
Same with me. Same here.
I think I do too.
Yeah, so I don't know. We can finish up. I'm just going to quickly say my Frozen Four. I got Maine. I have Michigan State. I have Minnesota, and I have Boston College. Pretty chalky, but that's the teams I like here.
I'm with you. I got BC, Maine, Minnesota.
Put up our picks. There's our picks.
There we go. Look at this.
I'm the only guy that switched up the one.
Yeah, well, you're a Western guy. You got to take anything that says Western.
Western.
If it was called Western Bentley, you would have had to take Western Bentley.
Jonny, what do you got?
I got BC, BU, Penn State, UMass.
You really
Wow.
think BU? You think BU?
I think Big Mike.
I
All
know,
about the
but like
Wow,
the thing,
Johnny.
the thing with BU for me and watching them, and they did it at the Bean Pod as well, is I feel like they could be good. Like they cranked it up in that one game, brutal first period in the final, then cranked it up on BC, took over the game. Then they come out in this past tournaments and we're like, they disappeared. Like their game it was just flat. Like this team needs to get kicked in the ass before the game, not at the intermission or what's like, they're just so up and down. You never know.
Yeah.
From what I've seen.
They're D Mike just texted me, "You're a dead man." I'm always rooting for him. And D Mike, honestly, it's probably a good thing because I never hit any bets or win anything. So you're welcome, honestly.
Bulletin board material, D Mike. Let's go.
Yeah. I'm just getting payback for the milk duds. No, I love D Mike, but listen,
Next North Dakota coach right there.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, obviously for me, like that Michigan State BU game, if they meet in the Toledo final, which they probably should, that'll be a really fun game to watch. But Cornell won't be easy either. I called a Cornell Princeton game earlier this year, and I do think when it comes to staying above the puck and tracking back, Cornell is one of the best teams I've seen do that. Like there are no odd man rushes against the Big Reds. So Michigan State's going to have a big challenge as far as creating plays when they cross that blue line. So we'll see what the skill guys can do for the Spartans, but I'm definitely rooting for Michigan State in that bracket. So D Mike, I am cheering you on. Cole Hudson, Cole Eiserman, those two guys are nasty and they can take over a game. So we'll see what those two guys have.
Isaac Howard and Trey Augustine. Right back in your face. I got you, D Mike.
Are you coming to are you going to be in St. Louis, Jonny?
I don't have confirmation yet, but I'm trying to get there. So hopefully I'll be there. You guys are going, right?
We will be. Game notes will be boots on the ground. I think we're getting in Wednesday night. We got both games Thursday. The off day Friday, I saw St. Louis Cardinals are in town. Maybe a Budweiser brewery tour. We'll see what we can get into. And then probably a little Pink Whitney party before the game on Saturday to get us just right. And maybe Quinnipiac makes it back, Army, so our buddy there can get us in the suites again.
Oh my God, we rip around with those guys. We're gonna die in St. Louis, no question. Those guys were nuts if they get back there. That'd be something else. Always a great time. I see Jeremiah Maxwell. We saw him in Mini the last one, and he's gonna be there. He rips all the way from Alaska. People in the chat. Everyone's saying, should we all go to St. Louis? Like, can you imagine just like an ice con in St. Louis?
Needed.
That would be unbelievable.
Games con. Yeah, Ice Con this weekend, too. We're going to get into the NHL in a little bit. But, Johnny, we know you're out west. You probably had a late night, so thank you for waking up and teaching us a little more about the college hockey. As Army's new to the game, I've been out of the game for a while, so we appreciate your expertise.
I love you guys. I'll hop on here any time of the day, so appreciate you guys having me. And, we'll talk soon, all right?
Yeah, and you can see Johnny and our guest from last week, Colby Cohen, every morning, Monday through Thursday, morning cup of hockey, 9 a.m. I want to say it's at 9 a.m. Eastern.
Yes, every morning.
Check those guys out. They get great guests. They do a great job too. So love those guys.
Boys, I'm gonna jump out of here. It's NHL time. NCAA time is over. I'm at a bachelor party here in Scottsdale. Things are starting to get loud out in the living room. So I don't want it to get too loud here. So I'll kick it over to you guys.
It's gonna be like
don't forget to flash IV in the morning, G. That's what it's made for. These kind of trips. Body armor, flash IV. Get it for the whole crew.
And you're gonna be doing like your Acha pass puff party. Yeah, I know it. It's like at your Acha days all over again.
These 20 Shea guys are savages. City boys, just savages. So it'll be a fun one.
Attaboy, G.
All right,
thanks,
boys.
buddy.
Yeah, awesome. All right, yeah, like he said, that's a wrap on the college hockey. We're gonna go through the NHL. We got a bonus day here because we're jumped on Thursday, the old way game notes. So we're just gonna do every day. And if there's a little news or notes about a certain team, we're going to talk about their game that day and put it in there. And I'll have a couple picks at the end. But first news up for Thursday, for the Thursday games, Montreal at Philly. Philly's got a new bench coach.
Yep. Shaw will take over. Assistant coach Shaw, Brad Shaw, will be taking over. And we saw some comments from Torts after the last game, right? And all of a sudden we get, this information and this news. It happened rather quick. I was like, maybe they would wait to the end of the year, Merles. I don't know how you feel about it. There's not much time left here with where they're at, but Danny Briere came out and just said it's a tough decision, but this is where they're at right now with Torts.
Yeah, when I see it happening like this during the season, I feel like maybe Brad Shaw's going to get the job. I know he's been a long-time assistant, but why else would you do it? If it's your guy, then yeah, you want to give him these extra 8 or 9 games to understand everybody and stuff like that. I don't understand why you would do it other than that, but
I just think
Torts is out.
Look at Talk in Vancouver. Lots of talk about his contract extension that hasn't happened and what could happen there. So lots of moving parts right now. And obviously, Torts has been through his career in the media and whatnot. And, he's worked on TV in between coaching jobs as well, but then gets back behind the bench and is, rather, I don't know what the word is, like, bristly with the media, but he's been in like several things with, the Michkov and, being hard on him and benching him and what's the line and where's it at and young guys in the lineup and how to handle it and doesn't want to, learn to coach young guys, I believe were kind of his comments. Am I right there? Is that generally what he said? So, they're just at an impasse really with where their organization's at and their team. And it's like, hey, something else needs to happen here. So it'll be super interesting with, the guys that we talk about, the Carl, Barr, on and on. You go down the list. Some other young, NHL coaches as well that are probably assistant coaches that might be looking for a sniff as well as a head guy and grow with the team and be a guy that could be in there. So that's big news here today, though. That's big news with that.
Big news. What about if he was jumping to another team for the playoff run? Somebody said, hey, we want Torts up here. You think of any team that would bring on Torts late?
I can't see it happening.
No.
I can't see that happening. If anything, I could see if he's not behind a bench as an advisor of some sort with an organization at most, if not back behind the desk, chopping it up on TV possibly.
Yeah, sitting there with Levy and Messier on ESPN again.
Yes.
We would all love that. We love hearing from him, but let's get into the playoff
games.
races. The playoff races are incredible. Detroit at home tonight, hanging on by a thread, playing Ottawa. If you remember last year, Ottawa put them asleep. Detroit went up there and lost 2 games back to back. So that's a huge game to look at tonight. You got, who else is the other one you were talking about? Toronto. They're fighting with Florida and Tampa for that top spot. They got an easy one in San Jose. They got to take care of business.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at all this right now in like with like getting in the playoffs for one, with like, the Montreals, who's hanging around, who can get in there, right? And here's the standings as we get a look at it. Thank you, Pasha, for throwing it up there. Islanders, Rangers, Columbus, like, some of these, like what's happening there, but then the Atlantic, the top of the Atlantic also for positioning, Merles. What's more intriguing to you right now with some of these games? And I feel like, you're seeing some games on one level, like LA against Colorado, right? And you're like, oh, that'll be a good game, but that's a huge game just, for positioning and home ice advantage. Like, look at these teams right here. I was just in Tampa Bay, was just in Florida with the Penguins. Florida was missing some of their guys, and it looks like tomorrow night, I believe is it tomorrow night, Saturday night, Friday night, they were saying that Marchand may be making his debut in Florida with the Panthers. But Tampa Bay, sneaky, like no one's talking really about them, and so different from Florida with the way they play. I don't know, but I think home ice advantage or winning the division, like there's a lot of jockeying going on with a lot of these teams. Do you find that more interesting, or are you kind of still like interested and intrigued? Because I know we talk a lot about just getting in the battle for the wild card.
Yeah, in that case, I like the battle up top there. I think Toronto really wants to avoid both those teams. I think if they play Tampa or Florida, they're done. So on that side, I think that's bigger. When I look out west at some of these the other ones that we'll get to later, LA's a wagon, Edmonton's good, Vegas is good, Winnipeg, everybody's good out there. St. Louis Blues, you don't want to run into, who I'm going to talk a little bit about right now, my St. Louis Blues.
Fire.
They've won 7 in a row. They seem to win every game 4-1. They are just they're on an absolute heater, and nobody would want to play them right now in a series. And it looks like Winnipeg might have to deal with them. But that's one of my picks for tonight. If we want to get into my picks real quick,
I'd love to hear your picks.
Yeah, I've been on the Blues. I've been riding the Blues. I'm on them again. I'm going for it tonight. I'm sick of sitting here watching them win 4-1, 6-1, 4-1. I'm going Blues -1.5, +185, going for the big odds. They're still getting undervalued by DraftKings Sportsbook. So I'm on them. And then my other one, what is it when you got to like say you're wrong? You got to like a tough pill to swallow, or you got to eat crow. I got to eat crow on the LA Kings as frauds.
Yeah.
They are a real problem now. They don't lose at home. They're like incredible at home. And now Edmonton's all banged up. So it looks like LA is going to get home ice. So that they do have a chance to beat Edmonton and then beat my Vegas Golden Knights and make me look even dumber. But yeah, they're saying the Maya Copa. Yeah, that's what Witt always says. I should know that. He says it at least 4 times an episode because he's always wrong. But I'm going against LA. All that said, I'm against LA tonight. I'm on my Avalanche money line. LA only does it at home. Colorado is incredible. 8-1-1, I think, in their last 10. Something incredible like that. So Blues -1.5, Avalanche money line.
Sigsy calls it the not the mea culpa, the mea humma.
Nice. Thanks, Sting.
Chat undefeated. Merles.
What else we got out west? Big win for Vancouver last night. Calgary's hanging around. They've won 4 in a row.
Yep. I mean, some of these teams, Edmonton, Dallas, lost to Dallas. Edmonton tried to push back in there. Here's the playoff race, though, with Vancouver. I thought they were too far out. That they win last night. Calgary's won 4 in a row. That's heating up. I was going to like almost write off Vancouver if they didn't win last night. Like, it was just like, how many points is too much to be away? Like 5 points, or it's just so hard to gain traction when you got a team, especially you're trying to catch St. Louis, and they're just absolutely on fire out west right now. And looking at that, and then also looking up into those divisional races as well, right? You look up in there, and it's like, okay, who's going to get home ice? What's the play here? Who you want to play? Who you want to slot up against? What are we doing here? So lots of action to watch, and it's going to continue the rest of the way here in this NHL season, right to the wire in a lot of different areas, which is like super exciting for me, Merles, right?
Yeah, I'm absolutely loving it. Every game you could find every night. There's 3 or 4 good games to watch. Even our beloved Pittsburgh Penguins are worth watching because Sid is just breaking records all the time.
Tonight, buddy. Big record tonight. He got a point last game in Tampa Bay on a blowout beatdown 6-1 against Tampa. Pens weren't there at all. Like, Tampa dominated them. The Tampa sneaky good. But tonight, Sid gets 1 more point. That'll lock him up for a point a game. 20 seasons in a row. He's tied at 19 seasons right now with Wayne Gretzky. Just an awesome example of, like, what's the one thing that you would, like, if I was interviewing you and we're in Wilkes together, or even at the NHL level, you know, that the everyday player, mostly every guy is like, what's something you want to work on? And at that level, you can skate, you know, you're smart, you can play, but it's always consistency. The guys always say I could prove my consistency, especially in the American League. But like, when you're a guy like that, that's that good, that consistently good, that consistently produces, that consistently is mentally and physically and elite every year, it's amazing. And to do it 20 years in a row, you got a longevity and consistency and just unbelievable player. So I'm looking forward. I hope I'm on the radio call tonight on color for the Penguins here in Buffalo. So I'm looking forward, hopefully, to that, because it's, you know, witnessing history like that. It's been cool to watch Sid pass all these guys and, you know, all these records that he's getting or moving up on some of these milestones and some of the names you're hearing. It's really cool. But this going into this year, you know, for me as a hockey fan and like a Sid guy, like we all are, it's going to be awesome. So just needs 1 point tonight. So maybe if you're running parlays for tonight or anything and you're looking for something that's guaranteed, Sid's been absolutely on fire. 8-game point streak he's on right now. I believe it's 8 games. crack into my homework here. But just absolutely lighting it up and
Yep.
you know, leading the way and just a producer. He can just make things happen. So look for that, at least a point. I'm guessing he'll have probably 2. I'll go out on a limb because he has out of on his 8-game point streak, Merles, he's got 5 of those games or 4 or 5 of those games that he's had multi points. So just absolutely putting it together.
I got 8 games straight with 13 points, 6 goals, 7 assists.
Mhm.
I'm going to make a bold prediction that he scores a goal tonight to break the record from his patented spot there on the side of the net. I saw he scored his 25th goal right from that spot. And you remember when Wayne Gretzky retired, they put the 99 behind the net because that was Wayne's office. I want to see the whole NHL when he retires, an 87 there on the left post in all the rinks for at least one night and, you know, show the true legend. It's his spot. And then we're going to do the same for Ovechkin on his spot when he retires on the circle. They'll have the big 8 on the other circle. So those guys deserve that and they need that. And I wanted to lead that into the Ovi goal chase.
Oh,
that
my
stupid
God.
graphic of ours keeps showing up on our game notes.
Yeah,
social.
he's hunting, right? He is absolutely hunting, and another goal for him. And then they got tonight, right? They're in Minnesota.
Mhm.
Something to keep an eye on. Obviously, we're all watching that. So what does he need? 6 goals to break it, right?
Yeah, I every time I see the graphic pop up, I'm just disgusted. I only had 2 goals. So that's it for Thursday. Tons of action tonight. Obviously, the NCAA we're going to be really focused on, but the NHL, I mean, these games are incredible too. It's just a perfect time to be a hockey fan. But that's tonight. Lead us into Friday night. Tomorrow, we're going to get those. We're going to get more NCAA hockey, but we have 6 NHL games as well.
6 games on the slate. What are you looking at, big boy, as we like every game too, like Vancouver and Columbus? I mean, it doesn't like get any bigger for both those teams. And you'd think going into the game, like, oh, Western Conference random team against Eastern, like, but those are just absolutely massive, that game. And then you run right down the slate and it's almost like every single game is like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I got Columbus in this one. They're 1-0 since Olivier's interview on Spit and Chicklets, and those guys said it. They said we're going to give you a bump. We're going to get Columbus back in this thing. So I'm going to ride with the Chicklets crew, with the Chicklets bump. Jackets money line plus 125. My other game is it's a playoff game for Montreal basically, but Carolina is off a loss. They played terrible when they traveled back from the West Coast. Habs will be on a back-to-back tomorrow. So I'm on the Canes 3-way minus 130. And then out west, the late game, you know me, I like the late games. I like the early games. For the Rangers, it's a must win. Yes, Anaheim is great, but Rangers 3-way. And I got a little present or a little something to show you today about the Anaheim Ducks, who, I mean, this guy, he couldn't have done it perfect timing for me last night. He got 2 goals. I got this Leo Carlson bobblehead doll brought back to me.
Nice. That's sick.
My buddy Anton Hun went over there, went to 4 different Ducks games.
I know Anton. Yeah.
Yep. And
the Ducks,
favorite
Ducks
guy.
obliterated the Bruins last night, so they're on a back-to-back. So it sets up really good for that Rangers pick. So yeah, we will.
That's Friday. Yeah, Friday night.
Friday,
Rangers must win. Rangers must win.
Ducks. Up.
Yeah, you got to take care of that. Yeah, game notes usually Friday, but that's tomorrow. And
hey,
we haven't heard from this guy yet today because I still don't know if he went to college. I think we covered this last time. He went to some makeup college in Canada, like Davenport University, like Biz. But we need to get Posh on here because we need to see the disclaimer and we got to talk some Devils.
Warning, the following statements are about to be made by a deranged Devils fan. The views expressed are his and his only. Take everything you hear with a grain of salt because, remember, he is a deranged Devils fan.
That's right.
Yep.
Right.
What's up, boys? I just wanted to give a little tire pump to Luke Hughes. Sees his brother go down, sees the number 1 offensive D-man Hamilton goes down, and he says, what am I going to do? I'm going to absolutely step up. This guy's got 12 points in the last 11 games, 3 primary apples last night. Mm-hmm. He has just been unbelievable, really sort of taken that responsibility on his shoulders for, 21 years old. I think the sky's the limit for this kid. If the Devils are going to do anything this year, and by anything, I mean win a couple games. I mean, I'm not delusional enough to think that they're going to, win the cup. But he's going to have to be playing at this level. So little Luke Hughes shout out. But
he deserves it.
He does deserve it. He does deserve it.
I think this is in a real world. I'll say this, Pasha, too. I think this is an unbelievable thing for Luke Hughes. Like with Dougie going down, his brother, like brother's not around. Like, in the capacity of it's going to elevate him. It's going to let him kind of, I think, be put in a situation where he's like going to be able to find himself. So I think this is going to be huge for a young player to be put in this situation and kind of take the reins. And he is right now. So yeah, totally great sign.
Yeah. But against Winnipeg, I feel like, Winnipeg just owns the Devils. And that one, I don't know. I don't have high hopes for that game in particular.
Yeah. Jonny Lazarus in the chat now. He says he's going to owe Pasha some money moving forward.
What's that?
Wow.
Timo Meyer versus Benajad, more goals. That one looks to be pretty much wrapped.
You guys are crazy doing this stuff.
And then Devils Rangers, who finishes higher. So
wow,
both looking good for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Good for you.
Well, just Johnny, you just pay that right over to Whit for the other Hughes bet. So that's good for that. But Army, talking betting, you got a little four game parlay.
Well, if I was doing it, like, what I like, I like those big parlays. I'm a sicko like that with those things. I would look at this slate here tonight, and I'd do a little
Friday night.
Friday night. Sorry. I would do a little 4-gamer, a little Rangers, a little Golden Knights, a little Winnipeg, sorry, Pasha, and Florida. And I'm not unsure what those odds would be, but just looking at the slate, that's what I would do for Friday night. Tomorrow
I'll tell you what I'll try to do, Army. I will talk to our good friend Jack McCarthy at Barstool that runs the DraftKings stuff. We will try to get that 14 parlay put up there tomorrow with the graphic, with the odds, and everybody can easily click on that on the DraftKings Sportsbook. And
hey, if you're feeling it different, if you want an over or an under, you're feeling that, Merles. I know you have your feelings. You can work with it for the graphic.
Hey, 2-0 yesterday. I hit a Euro game, and then I hit Dallas Stars. I also did a little over parlay for fun. I took all 4 overs just to get the vibes going for Elio. Just Mr. Ice Con. He's traveling down there today, so I am looking at overs. Maybe we'll throw in 1 over tomorrow with your 4 picks, but stay tuned to the socials for that. I'll see if we can get that done. That's enough of Friday. Let's take a little break from the games and get into our show, Mindsies. Army, you're going out west. You're a Western guy for your show.
Well, I got... I fucked that up. I always butcher when we come with the graphic, buddy. Mindsies. Yeah, maybe I'll send myself to the Mindsies. My show, though, is with all the college talk, and I'm excited to talk about this. CHL also. This is the best time. Everything's happening. Army forgets the graphic. Libby's all over me for it. I know. I brutal. I do it every time. Credit to Pasha for remembering to put it up there.
Yeah, how does he do that?
I don't know how he always remembers. Western Hockey League CHL playoffs are starting up. Also, look at what we've got here. This is a little tip for you as well. The WHL and Victory Plus, just to let people know if they want to watch WHL playoff games, they've signed a deal with the Western Hockey League, but they'll be streaming for free starting right now, tomorrow night in the playoffs, without geo restrictions, which is unreal. So yes, I see people in the chat. Go Tips. I see people in the chat. Gavin McKenna. Yes, now you can
future RPI engineer, Gavin McKenna.
There you go. So this is just a great opportunity. I'm sending it to the show, especially the Western League, being able to do this with this app. Now you can go if you're interested, if you've never seen it, you want to see some of these prospects, these highly touted players that are up there, check out some of the hockey. Now you can go do that. Now, Pasha, I believe you have a graphic also of the Western Hockey League, which I'm a big guy for. Their playoffs round 1 matchups are all kicking off, and here's a look at that. If you're interested with the app now, you can go and track all these series and rounds and get into it and check it out. I think that's an awesome thing to get people hooked or get people watching or get people interested in what this could look like. And Medicine Hat against Swift Current Broncos is a round 1 in the Eastern Conference matchup with Gavin McKenna with Medicine Hat, if you're wondering. So there it is right there. Check it out. Check the rosters. Check your prospects where they are. You can get that Landon DuPont with the Everett Silver tips also against Seattle. If you're looking at trying to get your eyes on some of these guys. I see the chat's buzzing off right now. Let's go Wheat Kings. Yeah, Wheat Kings are in on there.
Take DuPont at RPI too.
Roger
Hey, Mickey.
McQueen,
We'll
Saskatoon kid.
get him there. I'm a Spokane Chiefs guy now. Spokane Chiefs, they're my guys. Tom Frater, equipment guy. Talked to a couple of the kids, so that they're my horse. I see them.
They're playing the
3-speed
Vancouver Giants. Yeah, they got the
Giants.
Vancouver
Oh,
Giants.
anything to go against Vancouver and places where Pasha's
Pasha.
from. Perfect.
Pasha.
Perfect.
So
Perfect.
there we go.
Speaking of Pasha, come on in here and call somebody up to the show, please.
Yeah, my show is Jacob Chikrin for a couple reasons. First of all, he secured the absolute bag with that contract. Like, is that not way higher than you expected? I mean, good for him, but holy cow, what a ticket for the guy.
Well, he's
I feel like a couple years ago he was on the outs. No, he was always getting hurt. Didn't play well in Ottawa. There was really no space for him, and now,
Yeah.
oof.
Yeah, so
I mean,
good for him for that. And go ahead, Army.
Is that Darnell Nurse money pretty much? Like he got that
Yeah.
contract, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what a season he's strung together in Washington. It seems like it's a great fit for him. So he's found a home. Crazy that like the Ottawa thing. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? Like he's got family from there. They had him. Like he's a guy that can, produce and play minutes, but it's worked out for whatever reason in Washington, and they found some gold there. But the trade-in value is high.
It has worked out. And then more specifically, I want to, part of calling him to the show is these health protocols that he has. A couple of years ago, it came out he was eating the raw liver.
Yes.
And then now it's come out that he's eliminated all light bulbs from his house. He's
I
all
saw that.
candle lit at night. And, Army, we've talked about this, and I've told G about it. The blue light, how bad blue light is for you once the sun goes down, messes up your circadian rhythm. And he takes a lot of heat for it. People are like, what's this kooky stuff? This guy's a weirdo. But, I love the fact that he looks into his health and he follows these things, and he's not shy about sharing it. And it's refreshing. You don't hear a lot about these. It sounds crazy getting rid of light bulbs, and obviously that's an extreme. But I just love that he's kind of all about it.
Well, we see the guy in Buffalo, he doesn't wear shoes. He likes to be grounded. Like I played with some guys that only drink water out of glass bottles, no plastic bottles. Like a lot of guys are there's not a lot, but quite a few are very alternative conscious of like these other things and avenues and health benefits to certain things that they like to do because it makes them feel better, and they notice a difference because they're so fine-tuned that like every little tweak is like so big for them. And Chikrin's always been one of those guys. Yeah. So I saw he was being called like a loser or like taking heat on social media, shocker for like
people just chirp him. They call him a kook or whatever. And I don't know. People find any reason to chirp, but yeah.
Yeah, an interesting guy with his health, but obviously very health conscious on every angle of what he puts into his body and what environments he's in as well.
Yeah,
so
and he's an
huge
absolute
contract.
Unit. He's a unit, so he's doing something right.
Yeah, he's ripped. Absolutely.
$72 million. Yeah, they'll keep you in the show for a while with that contract. Can't send you down with that kind of money. But on to my show, I want to go back to the college, but I'm going to the women's college game, Army. The Wisconsin women, they took home another title. They scored on a penalty shot. Kristen Sims scored on a penalty shot with, 30 seconds left and got it to overtime. Then she scored the game-winning goal. But the main reason this game popped up on my radar, Troy, New York native, we have a girl, Maggie Scannell. Maggie Scannell. She's from Troy. She played all over Pittsburgh, and then she was up at Shattuck St. Mary's, was the captain there. So she's on the team, and I wanted to congratulate her and the rest of her teammates on the national title. You're called up to the show this week.
Yeah, that's awesome. I saw that clip of their coach for the penalty shot. Someone posted it, and I saw the coach is like, who wants it? Who wants it? You can read his lips. And she put her hand up right away. It's kind of that mentality, It was a really cool clip to see that. So for kids watching, you want to have that. I want the puck. I want to be the person, right? So pretty impressive stuff. Then there was a controversy. They were showing it. Did you see the shootout move? Really sick move.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh, she brought the puck back. I don't think so. It was part of the stick handling, and she was still in forward progress with her body. Like, so you're telling me if you pull the puck back to take a shot, the puck's going back. If you're thinking like that, that's wrong. Unbelievable move. Good goal by her and massive win. Good story all around. Merle's awesome.
Yeah. Great story. But now we got to get to the Mindsies. Did you find out any Mindsies? Are you going to stay positive?
I got something. I was just watching last night and it came in my head. I think I've done this before. Chat can remind me if I haven't. I don't know. But I just, as a 42-year-old guy, I'm sitting there watching NHL and I'm just seeing, guys scoring goals. and I'm seeing guys just going by the bench like they're 12 years old still, and like the flyby by the bench. Like, are we not done with this? Like, I watch it, I'm just like, I'm done with this. How are these guys still want to do the bench flybys? Like, let's just go old school. Let's just go celebrate, and then go line it up. Like, why are we doing the little kid flybys still? Can we, at the NHL level, like, get rid of this? It just looks weird to me now in my brain when I see it. And I used to do it, Merles. We all did it. I did it. I get it. I did it. I just see it now, and I'm like, hey, this is like, jump the shark or whatever you say. Like, I'm done with the it's a little thing. It's a little thing. But I'm just like, I watch it. I'm like, these are grown men doing the flybys here. Like, what are we doing with the flybys, boys? Like, knock the flybys off. It's over. Like, you're in the NHL, Mer.
Yeah, I don't mind it on the big goals. The time when I really hate it, say the game's 5-3, they already gave up an empty net, but they pull the goalie again, and then the team scores with 3 seconds left to make it 5-4. Like, the game's over. Don't go fly by. Just go line up. This thing's done.
So here it is. Jeremiah says
to see.
Jeremiah says in the chat, Army, nothing wrong with the flyby. You're being an old man. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with the flyby. I'm not raining on anybody's fun. Yay. Look at them go by the bench. That's so cool. And I get it. Okay. But it's just like, are we done with this little like peewee thing? Are we done with the peewee flyby? I don't know.
Sean Winnick, Army's been in the beer leagues too long. That's why he hates the flybys.
Line it up.
Line her up. That'd be awesome. I want to see a college team do that this weekend. That'd be so sick. I feel like that could be kind of intimidating. Like, oh, fuck. These guys mean business. They score. They just go stand there.
Imagine Tyson coming out with no robe on, just black shorts, sweating, just walking out to music. No team behind him, just walking out by himself. Like, that's intimidating. I just remember seeing when I was a kid, though, like the Red Wings, like Stevie Y and the boys, they'd score, they'd selly. And then it just showed them like slowly skating back out to center ice on like the wide shot with the rink going nuts. And I just think it looks like badass. I think it looks like NHL, in my brain. Yeah. Nothing wrong with the flyby. Have fun with the flyby, boys. Just saying.
I like that. I like that. It's something different, something new. If you've been struggling, team can't break. Maybe like the Oilers. They can't get through it. That's something you start doing to change it up. I like that a lot.
Singsy says he does flybys at work when he writes a good email.
Maybe I'll have North Dakota do that next year when I'm coaching there. No flybys. Go line up, boys.
Line it up. Yeah. Have the killer instinct.
Yeah. All right. Pasha, let's go. Let's get the mindsies. What do you got?
My mindsies is from the other night. Columbus Islanders. Palmieri scores the go-ahead goal with 10 seconds left. Gets waved off. They go to Toronto. They uphold it. I mean, what a horrendous call. He wasn't even in the crease. The goalie, was it Merzlikins, initiated contact. Just a terrible call. And then Patty Roy had a quote after being like, if Toronto doesn't have the nuts to overturn the on-the-ice calls, then we don't need Toronto. And I agreed with that. I just think in this point of the year, in such a meaningful game, you're going to wipe off a goal like that. And I mean, yeah, just brutal. Mindsies all around.
Yeah, I don't get that either. I just don't even know what to do. Patty Waugh's been roasted on challenges of late too. Like, he's just getting killed. But it's just, you never know. I don't know. And I know they discussed it at the GM meetings or whatever. And like, it's something, and like they showed them clips and they all agreed.
Yeah.
But say that to the coaches, that they're like asses on the line on the bench, and like they have like 40 seconds to make a decision on that call. So, and it's like, so in my opinion, like 50-50 almost. Not all of them, but a lot.
I feel like every time I know it's going one way, it goes the other way, and vice versa. Like, there's just no consistency.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, that's how I feel when I'm watching, and I can't celebrate either way. I have no idea what's going to happen. This is crazy. It's happened over here in Sweden. I was at the Timber game the other night, and I think 3 of the goals were challenged, and I was like, oh, that's not going to be one. And then I'm wrong, and then the next one, I'm like, that is a goal. It gets waved off. So I have no clue. I'm glad I'm not in that position.
Maybe they got to start using AI and just have like AI analyze the video and just tell you, maybe that's better than the human element. Who knows?
AI refs.
So
let's go.
I was going to segue right from that, from the SHL talk, right to my mindsies, an old Wit Dogs team. Sedin brothers, Peter Forsberg, the Headman. I'm forgetting somebody big. Naslin. They
Yep.
all played in Moto. They got relegated this year. They just lost 4 games to 2. They got up 2-0 in the series. They lost the next 4 games, so they're back into the second league. And HV survives. And guess who was on the bench for HV 71? Completely forgot he was here living in Sweden, Army.
Who is it?
An old teammate of ours, long time ago. Any
HV
guess?
Nils
And he
Ekman?
played for HV 71. I believe he married a Swedish girl as well now. Western guy. This is not great podcasting, but our old buddy Chris Beach.
Oh, Beachy. Yeah. His girl's
Beachy.
from there. He's from,
Yep.
his girl's from there.
So he's in charge of all the development, but I think when it got to this relegation series, it's all hands on deck, get as much information as we can on the bench for those guys. So he's standing there on the bench, and I was shocked to see that. I didn't realize he was on the bench. So
Yeah, Chris Beach.
Congrats to him.
Yeah, he's doing some player development stuff in the past and in Vancouver area, and I know he's really grown as a coach over the last number of years. So good for him. Yeah, no question. Congrats. It's crazy to see those two teams in those relegation games. Like those are like
what sucks about it. So you want both of them up there.
It
really
to me,
sucks.
They're like those teams that you think of when you think of that league. Like both those teams when I was there, they're like the history, the names that you mentioned that play. Like that's kind of crazy to honestly to see that. So, wow, that's a big check. Also in the chat, Merles, Libby put me in the penalty box for wanting to ruin fun. 2 minutes for ruining fun.
Okay.
If high fives down the bench are fun. I mean, if that's fun, I don't know. Like, let's have fun then, I guess. I don't know. Like, let's just keep having fun. I don't know. Like, I don't get it. Like just line it up. Let's go old school. I love it.
Kylie's in here. She's like, remember when Beachy took that huge hit mid-ice and his lung collapsed?
Buddy, I was
do
on the bench
remember
with him.
Oh.
Who hit him? What's his name? Washington, defenseman. Really tough.
Wow,
Really tough.
I do remember it.
Why am I
Hershey?
blanking on this guy's name?
Wow.
Erskine.
Oh, was it John Erskine?
Erskine hit him,
yeah.
open ice hit. I was sitting beside him on the bench. I'm like, buddy, are you okay? And he like looked all weird. And then he started coughing and like blood came out of his mouth. Yeah, because he had like some internal, it was a Titanic hit. Just an absolute.
Imagine that hit now in the NHL. The guy would be suspended for life.
But Beachy didn't even go down. He just got right up. He just ate it. He just ate it like he ran into a wall. It was crazy. Then we're on the bench. I'm like, dude, he looked like his eyes were like he was trying to decipher like what was wrong with his body. And he was like, and then he's like, and then like blood. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, trainer, get over here. What the hell's going on? Steedsy came running down. But good for Beachy. That's awesome.
Yeah, so congrats to him. Minesy's for Moto. Moving on, let's quickly get through Saturday and Sunday and wrap this sucker up.
Let's wrap her up, buddy. Here we go. 11 games Saturday. What you looking at? Big day. That's a big day. Big day for hockey.
I mean, the biggest game is on there. It's circled. It's going to be all over the social media. It's IceCon. It's Vegas at Nashville. Early game. Over. I think Mr. Ice is saying over 5.5, but I'm going to go over 6.5. I'll get some better odds. And just to help Mr. Ice and the Ice people, we need to get over. I'm so disappointed I can't make it this year. Last year was so much fun. We had the whole crowd yelling to pull the goalie at the end. The lead up before, they're going to be at the Barstool Bar in Nashville. I think Biz and Witt are both showing up. So still time to get down to Nashville. Go see all the guys, the Ice people. I saw the kid from Czech, JC, is already in the airport on his way over. So it's going to be quite the show down there. So Nashville, Vegas, I want to see 9-10 goals. I want those guys to have the best time, rip off all their shirts. And then I'm going out west to the Biz Bowl, Toronto at LA. Biz's two favorite teams. LA is 26-3-4 at home. I'm on the Kings money line. I'm back on the Kings. I told you I'm off of them on the road. I'm all about them at home.
That's what a good guy does. That's what he does. He does his homework. He checks the game notes and he's aware of these things. Great job, Merles. That's amazing. Also keep an eye on for Saturday night, hockey night in Canada, IceCon. But keep an eye on that Battle of Alberta. It'll be interesting to see what comes of that. Massive game for both teams. Calgary fighting for their lives. Massive game.
Yeah, it's a tough one. And St. Louis is at Colorado. It's the first time in probably 3 weeks I won't be betting St. Louis because Colorado is just too good.
Scary.
If the Blues can win that game too, then they're in the playoffs. I'll declare them in the playoffs like they do the elections. They'll be officially in the playoffs. Rangers at San Jose. Again, we talked Rangers have to win these games out west, California trip. So
Big time.
another great slate Saturday. And it will also be the second round of those NCAA games. So hopefully we're going to see Maine, Quinnipiac, or Maine, UConn, and down the line.
All right, love it, buddy. Sunday, you want to move on to Sunday? We got 8 games on Sunday as we rapid fire here. Unnamed show starting, I believe, right now, or if I think so. Is that true? I see it. I saw in the chat. So here we go. You got an 8-game Sunday, Mer.
Yeah, and so I was wrong there. I mean, Maine plays Friday, so they'll play Sunday. So they'll be on this one, the Sunday. The Thursday winners play Saturday. Friday games play Sunday. So we'll see Maine on Sunday. But Florida's losing that grasp on the division. It seemed like it was theirs just a few weeks ago. They've had the injuries, but this is a game. They're at home. They seem to do well at the day games at home when I've watched them. I think I've seen them have a couple shutouts recently at home on the day game. So Panthers money line. I'm on Ottawa. They're finishing off their dad's trip, I believe, down with you in Pittsburgh. So I think they're going to get the job done with the dads, have a bunch of beer on the flight home to Ottawa. And then again, LA at home. I'm assuming they're going to win. I'm on them Saturday. They're going to win.
Wow.
They're going to be 27, 3-4 at home, and they're playing San Jose. I have money line written down, but that's going to be too big. I'm going to probably have to do -1.5.
Yeah.
So move that to Kings -1.5 officially.
All right, love it, buddy. Great work. I can't believe you're a Kings guy now. Like, this is an unbelievable turn.
At home.
At home.
Kings at home. So that's why if Edmonton can get their shit together and get home ice again, then I'll be back that they're frauds, that they're not going to get out of the first round. Because that was the whole thing. I said they're not going to get out of the first round. I didn't mean they were complete frauds. I just like they're not. How are they going to get out of the first round?
The Oilers again.
It's the Oilers. The Oilers always beat them.
All right. So, love it. Love the thinking. Love the show. Merles, unbelievable. Chat was buzzing. Numbers were big. Absolutely unbelievable. Benny Barr.
We got the most famous coach in college hockey right now. Everybody's talking about Maine and Ben Barr. So thanks to him and good luck to his crew. Thanks to Jonny Laz, college expert. Morning Cup of Hockey with Colby Cohen. We're going to see them guys. We'll do some stuff with them in St. Louis, hopefully. And thanks to Body Armor. Body Armor Flash IV. Get on them this weekend. We're going to be watching games. You're staying up late, maybe having a couple cold ones. Body Armor Flash IV, like in the middle of a hard drinking is a key move too.
Massive move. Yeah. Use it to your benefit. No question. What a weekend. Everybody just enjoy it. Right, Merles? It's like baseball starting, college hockey, junior playoffs, NHL meaningful games all the way down the line. So it's quite a time. Keep track of us on socials, on X at Game Notes Bud, on Instagram at Game Notes.
Yep. And next week we should be back to normal time. There's nothing, no schedule changes. There's no big games next weekend. College hockey will be off a weekend because it's the basketball, but I will be in the US. So I will be on your guys' schedule at noon Eastern on Friday. Looking forward to getting back home, get my house done, go talk some college hockey, and just get ready for this playoff run. That's going to be incredible. So enjoy the night, Army. Say hi. Tim Conley's going to be in the building.
I'm going to be looking for TC. I'm going to be looking for him. Unbelievable. I love that. Safe travels to you, Merles. Everybody, thanks for joining us a day early, too. We kind of rolled it around with the NCAA hockey stuff starting up. So have fun watching. Happy watching, everybody. You're the best. We love you. Have a great weekend.